Three types of families: thinker families, feeler families, or a weird blend. The weird blends have it the worst because the feeler types get neglected by the thinker types. Thinkers are cold. They're just flat out, don't take offense, it's a fact. I'll give you an example, and you can probably share this with any family member to prove my point. Check out these apples. If there is an emotional dissonance between you and a parent, between siblings or, a child to parent relationship, and if the emotional side was never reciprocated. One side wanted to be lovey-dovey and one did not. Not reciprocated. That is a thinker to feeler conflict. The fact is they're opposite. Now this is a nature, right? Nurture is Enneagram, nature is Myers-Briggs. They told me that recently and thought I was genius. Shout out to Jody. Now, I'll give you a real life recent example. Feeler family versus a thinker family. I'm not going to say who and which dynamic because if you're looking for Osmond drama, you're not going to find it. Or if you're really looking between the lines, you might find it. Just respect privacy, I guess. Here we go. Now, something big happens in the family. Somebody's coming to that event, which was not accepted by somebody else. That somebody else immediately, an FI user, by the way, reaches out to try to attack anybody that they feel threatened by. And I was at the brink of that. You probably remember me making some videos a little while ago about this, where that person attacked me. Now, this was a feeler-based attack. This was a, hey, I'm hurt, I'm offended, how dare you, how dare you? And I was not only the victim, but they saw me as the attacker. But really, I did nothing but defend and protect and warmingly do what I did. But that was not reciprocated by this other feeler. So this is a feeler-type drama. Let me get to the thinker drama here in a second. Actually, let's just jump to the thinker-type drama. Now you have the blended issue, where there are thinkers in the family who purchased a home. And they were with other thinkers for so long, they couldn't handle people and emotion for so long. So when they got the new place, they vanished for a month or two. Didn't even tell anybody in the family that they got home, even though some of them helped them move because they were already in their vicinity. Otherwise, they would have avoided them entirely. Now, thinkers avoid emotion at all costs. And it's, from an emotional standpoint, completely ridiculous, but from their standpoint, it's totally logical. So here's how this thinker-feeler thing completely shreds relationships and causes this drama, as you can see. The thinkers avoided the feelers and probably avoided everybody else. But then they posted about it, that they got the new place, and the feelers were like, why didn't they invite me to a housewarming thing? Why didn't they let me help them move? Because I care, things like that. That is how the feelers see it. To a thinker, because it's very obvious what they did, they just avoided emotion. They avoided people. But why would you post about it at that point, right? Why would you make it a public spectacle, but not personally tell people close to you who you see, every so often, that you have this massive life change? And okay, let me give you how a feeler would have handled that appropriately. Somebody with emotional intelligence. Thinkers stereotypically have very little emotional intelligence naturally. Thinkers have to work at it. It's a thing that they have to it's a workout. Very much how a feeler has to work out their logic. It's a reverse thing, thinker versus feeler for it's an emotional workout or a logical workout. It's work, okay? So a feeler type would have handled it like this, and this is how we did it when we had our baby, which is exact same idea. Massive life change, but a feeler type says, hey, we have a baby. We need time away from you, away from everybody. Nobody come visit, nobody do anything. People brought food over. We're super grateful if you guys are watching. Thank you so much for the food. That was awesome. I discovered how many people were, chefs, and they created their own food. It was really cool. But we made it clear emotionally that we needed to be at a distance for a time. Now, to the thinker types, they're like, oh, okay, now we know this, and we can respect that. To the feeler types, they're like, oh, well, actually, you know what? See how you win? The feelers are like, that makes sense emotionally. So that is how you fix the blended family issue, feeler type versus thinker type. Feelers will communicate either by attacking with their feelings and they get it out, and then they can chat about feelings. Being from an FI dominant and FI parent-based family, my mom is an FI critic, an INFJ, but we are all FI users, all of us. And if anything bugs us, we immediately bring it up, we immediately address it. Hey, I'm hurt, I'm offended, I'm crying, or whatever it is. I need to talk to you about this right freaking now. Right now. Anything that happened, I was sent to my room or something, within a minute or two, my dad would come up and say, hey, are you okay? I couldn't even have a timeout because my family was such FI users, very FI and FE. So it's any emotional distance is immediately fixed. The gap, the rift here, the crack is filled with love, or at least the intention of emotion not necessarily always like the most loving, like I mentioned feeling attacked earlier, but that was an FI attack, and I am an FI parent, so I can handle that as a parent would from a child having a tantrum. And that is where you just stand back, let them do their thing, and yeah, it makes emotional sense why they did that, blah, blah, blah. But as an emotional person with their emotions, I can connect emotionally. And to the thinker types watching this, that should make logical sense to you. As a thinker type, what really irks me the most, and I've seen ESTJs do this, I have seen ISTPs do this, ESTPs, but what's worse is the ISTJs doing this. And that is, well, actually the ISTJs can understand the boundaries better, but the one I'm getting at least in my experience, the ISTJs in my life. When an ST type, or a thinker type in general, does something that omits emotion, as in I've been told from an ESTJ who said, no, we're let this happen. Don't even think about emotion. We avoid emotion. Let's keep moving on with the project or whatever it was. Had a band manager who was an ESTJ. And anytime emotions came up, he'd say, nope, keep working, keep practicing your instruments and you prep for the gig. And so we were here just, trying to make music, which is an emotional thing, by the way. And the controller was trying to control the emotion by omitting emotion from the room while we're having band practice, for example. So he was very clear that we do not have emotion. And that messed us up because as musicians, we're most musicians, in my opinion, are feeler types because we feel it, okay? So I know thinker types who try to be, somebody yesterday, shout out to Joni again, thinker types who try to be in the music industry don't actually feel it, especially like a feeler would. So that's a different conversation I'd like to have, listen to you guys' thoughts on that, because that hurts thinker types the most who are musicians, because what they're doing makes logical sense. These are the guys who know musical theory like amazing. So that begs the question as far as, jazz people versus classical, and that gets into this whole weird thing about what personalities tend to flock towards what and why, especially the genre-based people. And I'm over here with my freaking, I'm techno, bro, the happy middle ground. Techno and metal and experimental, whatever. Got some new soundtracks coming out, by the way. A couple albums and all that. New songs coming. Anyway, that is the difference between a thinker type and a feeler type in a family dynamic, especially the blended families who get it the worst. Thinker families, I don't know how you guys function, bro. Because what you're doing makes logical sense. Sure, live your life like that and plan out your vacations and don't have any family drama with emotion. Nobody takes offense because it's all logical and, bada boom, life is easy for you. Good for you guys. A family full of thinkers. Not one feeler, really? Because that one feeler is going to be completely thrown out. Let me know if you guys who has the weirdest dynamic. Feel free to throw in your dynamic in this, by the way. And then you get those who are feeler-based families only. There's like no thinkers in there. And I think because of the emotional intelligence that is needed to compensate for the personality part of the F, the feeler type, we have very high emotional intelligence, because anything that bugs us, we immediately address it. We immediately bring it up. We yell, we get it out, we feel it. Oh, feels good. Are we okay? Do I need to apologize for anything? Oh, yeah, no. I'm glad you're emotionally honest with me. Yeah. But now I can feel how you can feel. Yeah, I feel how you feel. I understand the vibe now. I don't feel off anymore. This makes a lot of sense emotionally. So thank you for bringing up your emotion. However high intensity or however low intensity, the volume doesn't matter. But for somebody who's brought up in a mixed family, like stressors like that are crazy. Like you can't do the emotional waves like we could in my family. We can't even bring up emotion to a thinker like that. And they just can't relate. It doesn't make sense. So what do they do? They avoid it. They avoid feeling. They avoid all the emotional logic. The emotional intelligence is 0 or low, or they have to work at it and try to respect boundaries because they stated it. They made it very clear. So the answer is communication. The situation that I mentioned within the massive family dynamic that I want to bring up because it might trigger some people. And then you got the house purchase over here with the thinker types. The biggest middle ground you can do, the thing that would totally fix it, is being very clear and communicating. Communicate. Actually say something, thinkers. You avoiding emotion makes it worse. Thinker types, I'm going to say that again. You avoiding emotion makes it worse because now you're pushing down the volcano. And that makes the volcano brew and get bigger. And then when it finally comes out, it comes out and puts you on the spot. So thinkers, get some freaking emotional intelligence because that is massive. And for feelers who are a little bit too emotional, get, what's the opposite of emotional intelligence? Thinker intelligence. I don't know. You get what I'm getting at. There is a middle ground in the personality range because you got the spectrum of feeler versus thinker. And if we can find a happy middle ground because of communication, the world will be so much of a better freaking place. I hope I didn't offend anybody there. I'm sorry if I did. It's because that shows emotional intelligence to at least apologize or at least attempt to make sure that we're good. Always make sure that we're good. That's what we always do. Are we okay? Are we okay? And if they're like, yeah, we're okay, that means that they understood that you were expressing yourself and that they feel heard, you feel heard, everybody's on the same freaking page. And that is emotional intelligence in a healthy family dynamic. I'm Eric Osmond. Thanks for watching. See you later. And thanks for your support over on